Welcome to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I'm Pamela, a former corporate professional turned certified life and business coach and mentor. If you're ready to sign clients, grow your soul-led coaching business, and shed the employee identity so you can step fully into business ownership, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I am very excited to bring on today's very special guest, Nadine Nethery. Nadine is the customer retention architect for savvy online business owners like you who know you could be making more money from the audience you already have. She is the person you call when you're sick of working harder for less and want to finally maximize your return on investment for every lead. I love the specificity of this, and I have never heard of customer retention architect, but I love the name. It's so good. Where did that come from?
It just really sums up, what I do. Like, there's so much strategy that goes into customer retention.
Yeah.
It's so many moving pieces. I always look at it like Lego bricks. Like, I'm a mum of three, so there's a lot of Lego in my house, and it literally is like that. It's like the ever-evolving stack of strategies that makes up your customer retention stack. So, architect felt very fitting, placing the right bricks in the right places, and helping you, monetize the relationships that you've already built with the people that have already said, yes, I'm all in.
I love this premise, and we're going to be diving into that so much on this episode because we have an exciting announcement as well, and there will be links in the show notes. If you can't wait, go check it out right this second and have a little snoop, but we'll dive into that a little bit more later. But Nadine, why don't you tell us first what led you into business in the first place, because you come from a corporate background, which is why I was keen to invite you onto the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my career originally in marketing, corporate comms, corporate sales for one of the global automotive brands. You might be able to tell from my accent. I'm originally from Germany, so it's one of the German brands. And I worked for them for over a decade in Australia in head office, and really had to package new models that were coming out as this irresistible better alternative to models that were already out there. I traveled the world to motor shows like Paris Motor Show, Frankfurt Motor Show, launches in Italy, in all the glamorous places, would wine and dine automotive journalists. So basically living the dream at the time. 5-star hotels. It was really something. I did that until, having bub number 2, so a decade with the company. And one day while baby was sleeping, I had a call from HR. And HR told me that I was no longer required. So 3 months old, baby number 2, we had agreed I'd come back full time. And it sort of shattered my world at the time. Like, obviously, it's confidence crushing, particularly when those, fresh mum hormones are still floating around. You're emotional, tired anyway. And it really made me doubt my abilities and my worth at the time. And, made everything come crashing down. So I took some time to reconsider, really have a look at what I can add to the world beyond the corporate world. So one thing that was clear after this experience was that I definitely didn't want to be a number in a corporate system again. And I went on this soul-searching journey, which took a little while. I knew I was great at selling, knew I was good at marketing, corporate PR. So definitely wanted to do something in that area. It took a little while to come to fruition. And in the meantime, I went back to the corporate grind because we have to pay some bills. So started full-time with another corporate while I was working out what the next iteration was going to look like. And then, quickly on the side started my business once everything fell into place. Like, I did a content marketing course while working full-time, having, kid number 2 and kid number 3 on the way by then. And part of that course was a module on copywriting. Up until that point, I never really heard of copywriting as a full-time gig. And so that sort of sparked something, because copywriting is basically selling, marketing, positioning, finding the right angle, really leaning into your audience, all bundled into one. And so, yeah, that was when I started taking on clients on the side, while working full-time and having kids. So it was intense. But then went on mat leave with baby number 3 in 2019, and really thought, I'll just give it everything. I'll see how it goes, see whether I can make this work, and replace my full-time corporate income. And I never went back. And so copywriting has over time evolved into something more holistic. So my clients over those years always commented on how great the copy is, but on all the amazing strategies that I was delivering to them on the site, like as a little added bonus. So the things that come before the sales page, before the email sequence, and that come after as well. So over time, that meant moving more into the customer experience space, customer retention, and really combining the 3, so copy, experience, and retention strategies. So my customers can really benefit from that holistic approach to their marketing, rather than just looking at all the bits and pieces in disjointed efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story. There are so many interesting parallels that I see with my story as well, because I had a career change, and I was only in that career change for about 18 months in that new job. And I did exactly the same. I did an internet marketing diploma. So I was like learning all these new processes and systems and people, and getting integrated into the new job in client relationship management. I was doing this internet marketing diploma. I then very quickly started the coaching certification straight after. So it was like almost as soon as I secured that new job, I kind of knew it was the beginning of the end, but I needed the job to pay the bills. And
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't in the mindset of this will be this will replace my income. It was like seed had been planted, but it didn't fully manifest until a little bit of time. It wasn't until really I was coming to the end of my certification that I had the knowing that I was like, wow, my life is changing. Like my desires are changing. The thing I thought would be a career path forever is no longer that dream, or that self expectation that I think I had always assumed and never questioned just suddenly fell away. Was it similar for you? Do you remember how it felt at the time to go from established career, suddenly redundant, you get another job, but did you know immediately that you wouldn't stay in it, or did it kind of unfold?
It sort of unfolded. Initially, I thought, because it was convenient, like head office was around the corner, it was an easy commute. It wasn't really that easy with juggling logistics with kids and, daycare and to juggle. So that part was never easy, but the job in itself felt like, you know what, this could actually work, and I'll just work myself up the career ladder and back into, something that fulfills me. But then I quickly worked out as well that corporates are full of politics and people knowing people. So there never really was any career progression, and the jobs that I was super excited about and applied for had sort of been promised to other people. So it was, this gradual realization that the job I went back to in this corporate really didn't light me up, which then ultimately made me start that course. So the course in itself was what excited me. So that was what I was trying to get back into. So content marketing, that storytelling component, really connecting with people. And unfortunately, the jobs just weren't eventuating. But once I started the course, it was like something just lit up. As I said, like that realization, oh my God, this is actually something people pay you for. I could totally pull this off. I can work with so many amazing brands. And magically, these were the days, 2019, when Instagram still had organic reach. So I actually landed a whole bunch of amazing brands that turned into long-term clients for years and years, that all were in a very similar position. So all female-led brands. A lot of them had been made redundant while on mat leave, or while they just returned to the office. So there was that instant connection. And I just loved the passion these women had for their brand. So it sort of, I don't know, made me part of their journey. And so it felt like I was growing all these little businesses while growing my own and
Yeah.
being part of something bigger. So once I started that work and took on more and more clients, it just really became semi-addictive, where I just knew this is what I wanted to do. And I could totally pull it off.
So you mentioned organic outreach with, oh, sorry,
Mhm.
organic Instagram in
Mm,
its organic heyday,
yeah.
2019. Oh my gosh, what a time.
How amazing.
Yeah, like I had to really check myself when I was reminded that Reels only came in
Mm,
2021, which is
yeah.
insane. Like to think how much the landscape of social media
Yeah.
has really changed. But how were you securing those early clients?
Yes, I was literally before the days of stories and reels. It was just the grid and
Yeah.
the square photos. I just posted, a post a day with hashtags, and
Yeah, hashtags.
somehow,
Oh my
yeah, I
God.
know, right?
They're cute.
Somehow grew my following pretty quickly. So how many do I have today? I don't know, 2,500 odd, something like that. And I reckon 2,300 of those happened before the algorithm went bust. Like, it
Interesting.
was actually insane. I could go on my lunch break, check my Instagram, and I'd have 20, 30 new followers. So,
Oh wow. Okay.
yeah, it was just, posting regularly, posting something that added value. So at the time, it was all about value and tips. Social media was still new.
Yeah.
Success stories. So I was really heavily leaning into case studies, and getting my customers to give me feedback and share their journey and their results with me. And a lot of people resonated with that. Obviously, seeing that I'm getting other people results worked a treat. But yeah, it felt super super easy at the time. I don't know. Instagram just it was my main source of lead
Yeah.
generation. Whereas nowadays, I have to say, I've probably stopped putting effort in because it just doesn't light me up
Right.
necessarily. Like, I don't know, it's just so much effort for getting in front of 50 people or 200 people who see your stories. I know it's me. It's not Instagram, but I just again, mum of three here. I have limited capacity, and when I look at my other marketing channels, so for example, my podcast, my email list, there's just a lot more return on investment
Hmm.
personally for me to put out a podcast episode every week and then, turn that into a blog post, share it with my email list and growing that email list, then, I don't know, spending an hour on editing a reel, which is probably showing my age here, but I just take forever to get anything out there on Instagram. It's just not seeing the return on investment for me.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it's going to be really refreshing for people to hear because there is definitely there is definitely a complexity to Instagram that,
Mm,
and I see it all the time with coaches who, I mean, my client base is mostly coaches. I know you
yeah.
work with all sorts of business owners, but there is a lot of opinion about Instagram being difficult, and it is the engagement, the reach isn't the way
Mm,
it used to be for those who have that context to compare it to. And yet it is a real catch 22. So if we choose to be on there, we're still choosing to be on there. So there is an element of embracing the fight because we don't have to be there. We could just choose to
yeah.
be somewhere
Yep.
else.
Absolutely.
So I love that you know, and this is the key takeaway here. I think it's like knowing where you want to put your energy and effort
Mm,
and then really going maxing out on that. Obviously not, I'm not saying burnout. I'm saying where you put your energy, let it be
yeah.
like full and fully embrace it. And then things like Instagram get to be just repurposing and making sure
Mm,
that it's just there for good measure. So how do you get people to your email list? Is it
mm.
people finding your podcast and then kind of that loop happening?
Yeah, the podcast definitely carries a lot of the weight, but collaboration is,
Mm.
really high on my priority list. And then the beauty with collaboration is if you're really strategic with who you partner with, they're bringing the right people into your world, who have a similar mindset to you. They're primed to hear from you because the person you're collaborating with has very similar ideas. So, yeah, it could be list swaps. So, where the collaborator shares me with their list and I share them with my list. It could be collaborations like the one you're involved in that's coming
Yeah.
up, which we're going to
Yes.
talk about later. It could be speaking opportunities. So I guest on podcasts like yours, for example.
Yeah.
It could be, virtual summits as well. So just getting in front of new audiences in a strategic way, because I'm a huge believer in being selective. So rather than saying yes to everything, I'm very discerning with the audience and actually making sure that the people I'm getting in front of are the right type of people who eventually are going to join my membership or potentially hire me to support them one-on-one.
And that discernment, I think, is everything. And it's how we came to meet. So I came across you, interestingly, I'm now thinking, how did I actually
Mm.
find you? I came across you on Threads. And I'll
Yes.
be honest, I have no clue about Threads.
Likewise.
I really didn't. I don't get it. I've never studied it. I've not been in any courses, and I've not invested in any
Mm.
courses to teach me. But every now and then, I will open the app. I realized a few weeks ago that if I do a single line or two line post on Facebook, if it's super short, that will repurpose automatically.
Mm.
And if my captions are short enough on Instagram, they will repurpose automatically.
Ah,
I didn't know this until recently. So it
yes,
was only
same.
recently I realized there's actually some content going on here and I haven't even had to try. But as you do, whenever there's a wall and the dopamine
Mm,
addiction kicks in, I was scrolling and that's how I found you. But
interesting.
that discernment piece really came through because when I then applied to the thing that we're going to share about in a
Mm,
second when you're ready to, I felt the love and care that you put into that and the way that you were so clear about the integrity of the people coming into this space and the value that they'll bring and the way that they approach it and also connecting to the real person behind that.
mm,
And those of you who know the Corporate to Coach podcast really well, I've shared on an episode either recently or coming out, and I've certainly shared it on my live on Instagram. But I was really, really nervous about going from solo episodes only on my podcast into this collaborative space, bringing in guests, because at first it's like, oh, my reach will grow, my
mm,
visibility will grow, we can collaborate and get access to those audiences that I don't currently tap into. But then on the other side of that, it's like, but is this person high integrity? Are they really good at what they say
mm,
they are?
mm,
Do they really care about their clients? Because I know how much I care, but how do you really know how much someone is effective at what they say they are? Because we all have to toot our own horn to a degree. We all have to just step into our own leadership and give what we can give and do it to the highest of our ability and the highest of integrity. And I really had to overcome that fear of sharing
mm,
my audience with people and bringing people that I don't know that well into to my
mm,
audience, because I've had clients say to me, "Oh well, Pamela, if you've brought them onto the podcast, then they must be good." And it's
mm,
almost like I have a responsibility if I'm going to introduce you. I want to make sure I'm not introducing the incorrect relationships, but I also know that's not my responsibility. You still, as the audience member and the listener, you still want to discern for yourself if someone's good. Don't just take my word for it. But I also want to, if I am going to introduce, I want to do it with high integrity. Did you did you feel this too? Was this something for you as you were collaborating?
yeah, absolutely. It's super important, as you said, because rubbing shoulders with people who don't share your values and putting your name to their events is super high risk. Because ultimately, if the event, let's say a summit, for example, a summit ends up being super pushy, super salesy, doesn't deliver on the promise, and you're part of it, all of a sudden your brand is being associated with this letdown. So it's hard. I'm with you on bringing guests on podcasts. So I waited a fair while to bring guests onto my podcast for that same reason,
Okay.
and really had to come up with some sort of strategy or a baseline when it comes to inviting guests. And what I've found has worked for me is again, sort of working with collaboration and leveraging existing relationships. So, what I do as well is with guests who come onto my show, I ask them for an introduction to someone who they think would be perfect for my podcast. And so I'm hoping that vetting that original person because I know them or they're part of a community that I'm in, then means they are very selective with who they introduce me to. And it has honestly brought in the best guests, the best new introductions, even, at this upcoming thing. Some of the collaborators in that event have come from these introductions. So I think for your listeners, especially if you're looking to get started with collaborations, don't stop at the project and the collaboration that you're working on, and consider it as a starting point for new, fresh introductions as well, because people, you'd be surprised, are so generous with, making those email introductions to someone who would be perfect to swap email lists with you, etc. You just have to ask. And it's that ask, putting it out there, that's going to open all the doors.
That is a genius idea. I've never thought of
Mm,
that. I'm now
mm,
thinking for all of my guests, maybe I could go back and say to them, hey, I
mm,
loved having you on the podcast. Is there anyone else that you think would really enjoy the conversation that we had?
mm.
And invite them on too. Oh, thank you.
See? You can
Yay.
absolutely, I automated. I'm a big fan of automation here. Hands up. I automated, so in my thank you email after I dropped the question, and I would say probably 75% of guests come up with an introduction, whether it's introducing straight away or hitting reply along the lines of, I know someone, such and such does this, and I think that'd be perfect. Do you want me to introduce you?
Mm.
So it is something that can generate new introductions on autopilot. And as I said, the quality of guests is awesome because I'm sure you could relate, Pamela, you wouldn't just send anyone to someone else, right? Like
Well,
you would do
exactly.
that
Yeah.
pre-qualification and really only send people who you think are high quality. And it works a treat.
Yes. Oh, thank you for that
Mm,
tip. But also just the philosophy behind it is what's really important. It is that sharing, that collaboration, the
mm,
opportunity that comes with that. It feels a little bit exposed, but I think it's worth it when you come at it with that high integrity is what we're saying, then the rewards massively outweigh the risk
yeah.
with that. Oh, thank you. I love that so much. Okay. Oh, so good. So let's discuss retention because this is
Mhm.
your type, customer retention architect. So, so good. Tell me why is that so important to you?
Retention ultimately is what's going to make your business sustainable and profitable in the long run. And it sort of connects with what we just talked about, that feeling that you constantly have to chase new leads, you have to be out there all the time, you have to show up on Instagram, on all the social media platforms. If you design your business around customer retention, so really designing every brand touch point intentionally so people stay hooked and pay attention and read your content and take action, then you won't have to constantly put yourself out there and chase new leads because the people who already said yes, you're looking after them and you're organically guiding them to that next logical step. So they spend more with you, they stick around, and they just become long term members of your community. And especially, I don't know, Instagram is full of coaches who tell you that, you need the viral reel to get in front of, I don't know, thousands of new people. You need to grow your following. I totally agree. Yes, you do need to bring new eyeballs into your business, but it's about being strategic. So again, don't spread yourself too thin. Be discerning about the collaborations that you enter into. Make sure they are with aligned people, so people who match your values, that are going to bring the right people into your world. And then sort of treat it like love at first sight. It's like funny analogy, but I definitely believe retention starts with that first click. So whether it's listening to your first podcast episode, finding you on Instagram, finding a post and resonating with it, joining your email list. So whatever that first interaction is, and while it hooks people, you need to keep impressing
Mm.
the audience. We all know what it's like, that, I don't know, love at first sight. It's all exciting, it's all fresh. But if you don't put the effort in and if you don't connect with that opposite person on a deeper level, then that infatuation is going to faint and they're going to move on, right? So retention is the same. It starts with the first click, and then you need to give people the opportunity to connect with you on a deeper level, and ideally in a way that puts them in control. So I love putting my audience, my customers, behind the steering wheel of their customer journey, which then means they receive the right offer at the right time. So they're sending me signals, which then means I'm making an offer. I know it sounds complex, but it's just being intentional about the way you sell, the way you show up, and the way you nurture those
Mm.
relationships.
I'm noticed that you put this into some of the information you shared with me as well.
Mm.
What do you mean about I'm making it mean that you create just offers kind of on a case by case basis, so it's more like bespoke
No,
engagements,
no, the,
or
the
how?
offers are all the same.
Okay.
It is simply a matter of paying close attention to the signals that your subscribers are sending you. So
Right.
rather than pushing a hard sell all the time, live launching, like as I said, mum of three, introvert, I hate live launches with a passion. So what I do instead is that I'm very strategic with using my email platform and the capabilities that are, hidden in the platform. And yeah, using clicks and email engagement and subscriber behavior as an indication to put them into evergreen funnels, or invite them down a rabbit hole because they've
Mm,
shown me that they're interested in something. So my regular programming in my emails is very like value driven storytelling. So I'm taking people along this journey, and if someone engages with certain emails and certain contents, then I remove them from that regular programming and send them, sort of like a mini sales sequence to invite them to make an actual decision.
yeah.
And that usually includes some urgency, some scarcity, or a bonus, limited time bonus to actually decide, because that's human nature. We all need this, little deadline or a little bit of genuine pressure to make a decision, whether it's a yes or a no.
Yeah.
But it just means that I'm not blasting my whole list with, this offer today, this offer next week. I'm literally just presenting people who have indicated that they're interested in XYZ with this particular offer, while everyone else just keeps going until they send me a signal that then takes them down a different rabbit hole.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear
Mm.
you. I got you. So the way, so I'm just thinking about this from the context of certainly my clients who I know are listening.
Mm.
We They're at a stage of business where things are a little bit more simple.
Yep.
What you've described is the kind of thing that I certainly do, and that is having different types of sequences for different types of opportunities and timeliness and at different levels of urgency, and having a system that can pick up on that information, and then creating, whether it's creating rules or creating automations off the back of that.
Mm.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some people here who love the idea of that and will go down that rabbit hole. If so, connect with Nadine and she can help you with that. And there will be some here that is like, wow, that sounds really
Mm.
good, but it's a level of I would say it's an advanced level of marketing and email management that doesn't have to come further down the line. You can choose that straight
Mm.
away, but certainly the strategies I teach, it's a lot more stripped back than that.
Yeah, it's definitely baby steps.
Yeah.
So, you can totally go all in and build all the things, which I don't recommend. It's a matter of identifying your lowest hanging fruit. So, if
Yes.
you have one offer that sells really well, people love it, focus on that and have a look how you can, build a mini sales sequence for that, how you can make it even more enticing, how you can use those trigger links to present people with another offer. So it doesn't have to be super, super complex. And that's something I help my members in the retention lab with as well. So there are totally low lift ways that you can get started as well. But yeah, it's a matter of keeping your subscribers on their toes and making it feel like it's 100% bespoke. And yeah, just designed for them rather than this blanket generic email that everyone receives. And
Mm,
it can actually be easier than it sounds.
yeah. And do you do sales calls?
I do, yes,
Yeah.
for my one-on-one services, simply because you would have worked that up by now. I'm very particular with the people I work with, the people I partner with, and sometimes people aren't ready for this type of work, or they have different expectations, they
Mm,
have different ideas of that collaboration. So I personally love sales calls to make sure that I'm the right person for them, but also they're the right person for me, because it goes both ways. But I also do like mini sort of free strategy sessions a few times a year,
hmm.
as a way to, I don't know, again, it's connecting with those people who are perfectly primed to work with me, but for whatever reason, they haven't gone to the contact page, filled out the contact form. So it's creating those opportunities, and that's working really well as well. So
Yeah.
getting those people who just need a free session, a little mini 20-minute brainstorming session to get a sample of how I work and how I think,
Yes.
and those convert really well. As well. So I'm a big believer of talking to people, particularly, nowadays in the age of AI, where everything seems to be automated and outsourced. I'm not against AI, but I feel like there are certain moments that matter in the customer
Hmm.
journey where jumping on a call with someone, or even if time zones don't permit, like having a Voxer conversation with someone to talk things through, can just make all the difference in and give them that confidence that yes, you are a real person, yes, you're probably going to deliver on your promise, and they also see whether they vibe with you, because I think ultimately often it comes down to that gut feeling. You're sort of half sold, you just need to have that interaction, and then
Yeah.
you're ready to invest.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's really refreshing to hear you say that you still do one-to-one calls for consults and sales calls, because I do as well for one-to-one for the 6 month. You can only work with me for 6 months at a time. And when I have those discussions, it isn't about like the information's available. So it's not about what is it, what is
Yeah.
coaching, what are we going to do? It's more validating the decision, like you said earlier, and
Mm.
helping you come to the decision. Because the worst thing I see is when people are spending time figuring out whether or not they should invest in something, when you don't want to be spending your time doing that. You want to be spending your time building your business and building relationships
Yeah.
and delivering and doing the work you're here to do. If you're spending all your time watching other service providers online, getting like sucked into their launches, reading a landing page 10 times over, deciding whether
Mm.
or not you should invest, every minute you spend doing that, you're not working on your own business. So I always encourage people, if you're feeling the pull, and this I think is a bit of an investor mindset and a part of being a business owner and not an employee, not a consumer, not looking at the cost of things, but thinking strategically, is this a need I need to fulfill? Do I desire the support? Because
Mm.
that's just as valid as there being a skill set you need to up level in. But do I desire the support? Do I connect and relate to this person? Do I trust in them to support me? Am I going to make the decision to invest, or am I just going to step away but stay focused on actually building my business? And that I always encourage. And I think there's so much value in having sales calls just to allow there to be dedicated space to make that decision from an aligned place. And then it sets you up for success when you start the
Mm.
engagement as well, which I really love about sales
Absolutely.
calls.
Yeah. And it makes sure you're working with the right people that are set up for
Yeah.
success, like the people that are then going to talk to their business buddies about how amazing it was working with you. So again, it taps into that referral engine, the retention engine, where actually working with people who get you, who resonate you, who are ready to put in the work, the effort, and get the results on the other side
Yes.
is what's going to fuel your
Yeah.
business in the long run.
I'll never forget I think it was in the first 18 months of my business, I had a friend, a coach, we're still good friends. A coach friend of mine messaged saying, "Hey, I'm doing this 6 week branding program. Do you want to come and check it out?" And four of us, so there was a group of like six of us in the WhatsApp group, and five of us ended up joining, and
Mm.
there were only seven in that group. So when I actually think about it from the context of being the business owner, the branding person who was selling that program, until that one person recommended all the rest of us, she only had two people in her group. And she ended up with like
Yeah.
six or seven because of one referral who spoke to four of her friends. That blows my mind when I think about, imagine that happening in your programs. For the people listening, especially, you could have one person who has a great experience with you, and the program hadn't even started yet. We all started together. So
Yeah.
for her, it was the marketing, the onboarding process, and that was enough for her to go, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want to join me? And suddenly you've got four new clients. So the power of referral with like with any client is incredibly powerful, that we forget is available to us at any time.
And that's why it's so important to not stop at that point of sale. Like I feel a lot of business
Yes.
owners, it's all about the launch, the pre-launch, getting that sale. And then as soon as people have purchased, there's radio silence, right? You get your login details and then that's it. So looking after your people after the purchase is even more important than landing that sale, because that's what's going to get them to talk about it, bring your friends, and yeah, I feel like should be at the core of a creation. So starting with the experience, how can you support people? How can you support them so they actually take action, get the results, and then work backwards from there? Like, how do you sell it? How do you attract those people that match the experience you're creating?
Would you share some of the ways that you can create a really great onboarding experience for clients, especially the kind of engagements where it is more a long-term one-to-one kind of engagement? What would a good experience look like once somebody's purchased for you?
Yeah. Everything starts with your customer. So again, being strategic, having a look at sort of the milestones you want them to hit, potentially anticipating those lulls. Let's say you have a coaching program. 3 months into the program, people lose momentum. They like that's life. Life gets in the way. They stop showing up to those live calls. How can you incentivize showing up, for example? How can you dangle a carrot? That means people keep taking action. So I, just as an example here, so in my membership onboarding sequence, which is 12 months long for a reason, I'm doing the same. So there's anticipating when those big, risk moments for churn happen. So delivering the right information before that cancellation happens. I also have a coffee cart style loyalty system, like Starbucks, you get your coffee card. So every sixth coffee, for example, is free. So to get my members to actually take action every month, there is a coffee cart style reward system. So for every
Oh,
execution, you get a stamp on your coffee cart, and then there's a bonus, at coffee or action number 6, for example. So that works a treat, getting people motivated. So obviously that's different for every program, depends on the length, your people, what motivates them. But I always say start with your audience. So if it's a new program, I would absolutely check in with people regularly, ask them what they need, what you could be doing better, and then incorporating that into that onboarding experience so you can anticipate things for future members. If you have an existing program and you haven't checked in with people, I'm a huge fan of audience surveys. So actually asking your members, what's the one thing that's frustrating you every month? What's preventing you from, getting the results that you signed up for? So being brutally honest with them and then actually doing something about it. So rather than just having the survey and going, oh, that's annoying, or okay, I'll add that to my to-do list.
yeah.
Coming at it from a grateful point, because I feel even though negative feedback or little niggles where they go, I wish the link was easier to access, or I wish you'd do X, Y, Z. Be grateful that these people are helping you. The amount of things and changes I've made in my onboarding experience based on direct feedback from people, is awesome. And we're often so close to our own business and to the way we've designed our office that we simply can't see what people might be struggling with.
Some really, really good examples there. Something that I like to do is, because I've just moved systems actually. So I've
Mm.
gone from Kajabi to System.io, and
Mm.
I took a lot for granted with Kajabi. And one of the things that I'm still currently in the process of doing is logging in like I'm a user, because I see the back end and I know the back end like the
Mm.
back of my hand, but
Mm.
I'm not somebody who's going into my email, digging out the login, finding the link, logging in from there, navigating the modules like a user. So not all the people I work with have programs, but when you start going into that space and your business is evolving into
Mm.
programs and courses, even for a freebie, a download, signing up to a webinar, think about the user experience and not just the full client journey from finding you. And this is how I do, it's not rocket science, but we just don't think about these things.
Yeah.
But this is how I audit my own Instagram, how I audit my own landing page. I go through and check the buttons. I mean,
Mm.
it was only like last month I was running a webinar. On day one of the launch, I realized that there were no signups. And I thought, okay, this is interesting. Like normally I'd expect something. The fact there's nothing, maybe there's something technically wrong here. Like,
Mm.
let's check. Turned out that yes, one of the buttons worked, but I hadn't set up the trigger to actually tell me that there was a user in place because it's a new system. It was automated in the last system. This I had to do manually.
Mm.
It was such a small thing that I missed. And it turned out people had signed up, but I couldn't see that they had. So that loop was missing in the system. That is one thing. And then another time, I remember I set up this freebie. They go into the freebie, it's all there. I checked the link, everything. But when you click the link to download it, it didn't download. It just wasn't
Mm.
linked. So these little things that somebody could be signing up to book a consult or download your freebie or join your email list. You've done it as really high integrity to the best of your ability. You're really excited to get it out there. And then the user's like, oh, I signed up to this thing. She got my email and I can't even download
Mm.
it. What a farce. And next thing you know, you've got an unfollow. And it's completely innocent. But these are the things that make a massive difference to the user experience, but setting them up for success. I
Mm.
absolutely love. I love the idea of asking them. It's crazy, right? We can just ask them,
Yeah.
how's it going? I did this with a client recently. I was like, hey, how are you finding the new login? Have you logged in? How is it
Mm.
easy to
Mm.
navigate? And she gave me a bit of feedback there and then. And I was like, perfect, good to know.
Yeah.
We don't ask these questions, we just won't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely can be, as I said, confronting. Like if you don't like feedback, negative feedback, it's eye opening, but it's honestly been the best thing
Yeah.
in my business. And again, I automate all these things. So it's part of the onboarding sequence. So there's regular feedback coming in all the time, but then it's a matter of sitting down and looking through it and taking
Yeah.
action. And sometimes feedback, you go, yeah, that's literally just you. So it's being, again, critical thinking here. Is it actually going to have an impact for a lot of people? Is it going to make a difference for all the members, or is this just something that this person has problems with? There's always going to be tech challenged people.
Yeah.
So you can't please everyone, but often there is something at the core of your findings, and then it's a matter of seeing how you can counteract it. And often those things that come up as well, they could be great for objection busting FAQ sections on the sales page, for example. So all these insights are then feeding into sales emails, your sales page. It's just so valuable to have those conversations with your customers, your members, your clients, no matter what shape or form you work with them in.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you said about the being able to receive feedback,
Mm.
if that's a struggle for you, that is the kind of thing where mindset coaching really comes in. Because as business owners, it is our responsibility to create good experiences for our customers. Just in the same way, when you go and get a service, it is, I mean, put it this way, you just need to look at any kind of reviews, TripAdvisor, what else is there? Google reviews, anything. People are very quick to criticize, and they
Mm.
absolutely will. It's less likely, ironically, that to get good reviews, but a tiny thing in the grand scheme of things can create a really negative experience for people. And so us being able to receive that feedback, it's sometimes we need to look at ourselves and be like, where did I pull away? Where did I avoid this? Where did I not do what I said I would? And sometimes it's really neutral feedback. It's just, oh, I could do that to improve the process. I could do that to make it easier for them. And like you say, you don't have to do everything, but check yourself if you're nervous to receive negative feedback. I see for a lot of my clients as well, that can sometimes be a hangover from corporate, especially from bad bosses, toxic
Yeah.
environments. And that can link into inner child, like hypervigilance and avoidance, attachment styles and behaviors. Nothing that's happening in business is often a business problem. It's often something much deeper at the identity level and the self-concept level. So even something as simple on the outside as feedback in a form, if you're noticing that you're avoiding doing it or looking at it or following up about it, maybe there's something a little bit deeper there.
I agree. And it's a learning curve, right?
Yes.
I feel like, you're putting so much passion and heart and soul into your business, that it can feel very vulnerable when people
What was a learning curve
criticize it.
for you?
Oh, like taking the feedback on board, particularly,
Okay.
early on when you're going like, is it really me? And it's probably, as you said, comes back to the corporate days where, you take things very personally in corporate because it often is, that toxic boss who just dishes out and doesn't have any leadership skills. So it is probably that hangover. Whereas nowadays I can totally receive the feedback. I thank people for it because I just am so grateful that
Yeah.
they actually shared it, because I reckon 90% of feedback or thoughts your customers, your clients have, they are not going to share with you. And then it's this unspoken, concern or resentment that they have because XYZ wasn't delivered or they misunderstood something. So getting it out in the open is going to help your client relations in the long term, and it's going to make you a better business owner. I would love you to check out this amazing collaboration that we've been working on. And Pamela is one of the collaborators. I'm hosting the first ever retention games, which is I would call it like an out of the box virtual event where 20 contestants, including Pamela, go head to head with a proven retention strategy that they have seen work really well in their business. So either before the purchase, during the purchase, after the purchase. I touched on it. Retention starts with that first click. And you can directly be involved in helping me crown the first ever Retention Games champion. You can win prizes along the way, and hopefully you walk away with at least one or two retention strategies that you are going to implement in your coaching business. They are all bite-sized, under 15 minutes. There's no boring snooze-fest presentations. It's like behind the scenes. People are sharing their results, the strategy, the setup, to make it super easy for you to implement and hopefully create your own customer retention engine.
Incredible. I've never seen a summit like it. I love the theme, the retention games. I'm a huge Hunger Games fan. I love the topic because I think so many people are focused on sales and marketing and making money that they completely miss that retention is one of the core strategies to make money. And it's some of the things that I've shared in my little segment are things that I don't think I've ever spoke about renewals and retention properly publicly, because I even focus on new sales, new leads, marketing and mindset. So it's stuff I've only shared with my clients. So I'm really excited for everyone to join. The link for that is going to be in the bio. But would you share a little bit about organizing a summit? Because this is your first summit, is
It is the
it?
first one, yes.
I mean, it is huge. You've got 20 contestants. That is a large summit by, I would say. Like, I know some can be bigger, some can be smaller, but that's certainly not a small gathering of people.
Yeah, so I was sitting on the concept of hosting a virtual summit, in inverted commas, of some sort for probably 2 years, and imposter syndrome coming into it here. So 2 years ago, I don't know, I was in a different place in my business, and I was literally telling myself the story that, who are you to host a virtual summit? Who's going to come to your event? So I was sitting on it for far too long. And then thank you to my Mixer Mind pod members. So I'm part of a mastermind-ish type community. And I think it was March, February, early March, late Feb, something like that. We had a catch up with my pod, and I put it out there. I'm like, oh, this year is going to be the year I'm hosting my first summit. It's going to happen. And the pod members just put me on the spot. It's like, whoa, it's not going to happen unless you set a date and you get the ball rolling. So in that session, I looked in and I said, before end of May, this event is going to happen. And it is. So 12th to the 15th of May, it's coming to life. And another great thing, someone who had organized a summit in that pod mentioned is that, the important thing is to get started with the back end stuff, even before you've locked in your speakers. You've finalized all the messaging, all the moving pieces, because you can organize so much on the front end before having all the sessions and, the creative and things. So that was honestly, a saving grace. So I put the application form out there, which is how you track me down, which is amazing. So really just got clear on what it's going to be, the format, and getting those speaker applications in. And then while the applications were coming in, I was working on logistics to automate the onboarding, the chasing, because there is a lot of chasing. But yeah, it's actually really rewarding. While it is a lot of work, I've honestly loved connecting with, a whole bunch of new people. So some people came in via existing connections, but then there's a whole bunch of new people who are new to our world, which is super awesome. And the concept is super fresh. As you said, it's something that's not out there. And that was important to me because as someone who speaks at a lot of virtual summits and someone who's watching the space closely, I just know there's a lot of same out there. And it just feels like there's a lot of rinse and repeat in this space. And also as a speaker, I've seen less impact from those speaking engagements. So I knew something just hasn't been connecting with the attendees. It's like a tick in the box, right? You sign up to another summit, you attend, you watch a session. So it was super important for me to make it a win-win-win for everyone. So win for me, obviously. I want to grow my list. I want to bring in amazing new people into my community, my membership, one-on-one clients. Win for the speakers. So it was really important for me to make it worth their while as speakers. So linking prizes and incentives to taking out that top 10 position, top 3 positions are being, crowd favorite. And then a win for the attendees. So actually making it practical, short, bite-sized, behind the scenes, none of the fluff. So even if you don't have time to watch all 20 sessions, you feel like you've got something to implement in your business. And a lot of the strategies that have been shared are easily implementable in 20 minutes or less. Like there are some that are so clever, but so impactful that, I can't wait to share them with you.
I can't wait as well. Retention is something that I truly was never taught the retention strategies that I share. They were things that came through in terms of how I believe a good customer experience can unfold, and they're rooted in integrity and customer experience. And so I'm quite excited to see what some of the other people have to share. I've already got so much from the brilliant shares that you've so generously shared today. And I am really excited to see what some other people have to say as well, because it just isn't a topic that we discuss enough.
Yeah.
And we're all in such soul-led, service-led businesses. This matters. This retention piece matters because very rarely, once a client has worked with us, is the work done. We're often taking them to the next step of their evolution, whether it's business growth, personal growth. There's always going to be more to do with them. So nailing your retention strategies is the way to keep them in your world so that you can keep servicing them if you want to. Like you said earlier, it's about having the right people in your world as well. Oh, I'm so excited for this. So the link for that is in the show notes. And obviously, if you're coming from the Corporate to Coach podcast and you join, you have to vote for me. That's the rule.
Yay!
But seriously, I
Vote
know
for
it will be really
Pamela.
good.
Yes.
Is everyone Australian or is it a global?
No, global. So there's Canada, US, France, UK, Australia. Yeah, it's a whole mix, which is great.
Awesome.
And so
And it's,
many different types of businesses as well. So there's
yeah, I was going to say
coaches,
it's a mix
there's
of businesses, isn't
people
it?
with memberships, people who serve clients, and a lot of those strategies, while they come from, let's say, a web designer, are totally transferable to other different business types. So it's a matter of looking at the strategy and then having a look how it can fit your business. So there's so much variety. They're all transferable and they're all pretty genius, I have to say.
So good. So you get a sneak preview of all of them. So
Yes, I
that's
actually am
fun.
super excited because I'm
Yeah.
putting, as we record this, I'm putting the finishing touches on the back end, and going through all the sessions, and I go, genius! Why didn't I think of that? So it is so good, and yeah, I'm just excited for things to kick off on the 12th of May.
Amazing. And for those of you listening, in one of my upcoming episodes with Sonia Rose, I speak about some of the mindset that I went through when it came to submitting my application for this very summit. So, in that episode where I talk about visibility and expanding my visibility and applying to summits more so this year, I speak about that, and the summit I'm referring to is this summit, the retention games. So, so you'll see the full journey of that for those of you who are regular listeners. But Nadine, thank you so much for joining me. So, where can people find you?
Yeah, so my website, candocontent.com, and then probably the only social media platform I'm semi-active on is Instagram. So Instagram, the handle there is at candocontent as well.
Perfect. And your podcast name?
Yeah, my podcast is What Would They Do? The Customer Experience Podcast, which is all about bite-sized episodes where I sort of troubleshoot actual real business questions that come up and help you solve them.
Amazing. What would they do?
Yeah, what would
What
they
would
do?
they do? Perfect. All right, then. Well, thank you so much. It was lovely to have you. And for everyone else, thanks so much for listening to the Corporate to Coach podcast. I have a request. If you are enjoying these incredible guest episodes and you haven't already, please do give this a like and leave your review if you're able to. I'm not sure what platforms allow you to do that, but give this a like or some stars, or drop me a DM if you want to share how this has helped you and supported you in your business. And in the spirit of referrals and collaboration and retention and all the things we spoke about today, if there's anyone that wants to be on the podcast, or you know someone that you would like me to reach out to and connect with or introduce me to have on the Corporate to Coach podcast, that would be so very welcome as well. So I'll see you all in the next episode. Thank you.